Hi, Andrea Emmes, narrator. This is the first time I've ever done this, and I'm a little nervous, but I am going to record a little bit of me narrating Emily of New Moon. Expect mistakes, expect some weird sounds, reactions, belches probably from a lot of air intake, but let's see how it goes. Okay, where are we? There was nothing left for her to find out about Ilsa's mother. Nothing except the most important thing of all, which neither she nor anybody else living knew. For Emily had never surrendered her conviction that the whole truth about Beatrice Burnley was not known. She often worried about it, when she lay curled up in her black walnut bed o' nights, listening to the moan of the Gulf and the Wind Woman. We're going to pause there. Oh, crap, where am I? Start from this sentence. Where am I? She was not known. She often worried. That's where it is. Okay, you gotta start a little back. Okay. Burnley was not known. She often worried about it when she lay curled up in her black walnut bed o' nights, listening to the moan of the Gulf and the Wind Woman singing in the trees, and drifted into sleeping, wishing intensely that she could solve the dark old mystery and dissolve its legend of shame and bitterness. Emily went rather languidly upstairs to the lookout. Languidly. Emily went rather languidly upstairs to the lookout. Emily went... Bitterness. Emily went rather languidly upstairs to the lookout. She meant to write some more of her story, The Ghost of the Well, wherein she was weaving the old legend of the well in the Lee-field, but somehow interest was lacking. She put the manuscript back into the mantel cupboard. She read over a letter from Dean Priest which had come that day, one of his fat, jolly, whimsical, delightful letters, wherein he had told her that he was coming to... Delightful letters, wherein he had told her that he was coming to stay... Fudge! Wherein he had told her that he was coming to stay a month with his sister at Blairwater. She wondered why this announcement did not excite her more. She was tired. Her head was aching. Emily couldn't remember ever having a headache before, since she could not... I gotta fix that one. A lot of times I gotta do editing stuff in between because sometimes there was a glitch or a sound or something, so I'm doing that now. There it is, I fixed that. Okay. Alright, back into the spot. Where am I? Headache before. Since she could not write, she decided to lie down and be Lady Trevanion? Lady Trevanion. Okay. Back it up. Save that. Lady Trevanion. Let me look that up real quick. Trevanion. See, this is the boring part of audiobook narration. Sometimes you have to stop Trevanion. There it is. Let's listen to that. Yeah, Trevanion. I'm right. Okay. Okay, back to it. Okay, where am I? Having a headache before. Since she could not write, she decided to lie down and be Lady Trevanion for a while. Emily was Lady Trevanion very often that summer. In one of the dream lives she had begun to build her up. Okay, I get it. That summer. In one of the dream lives she had begun to build up for herself. Oh, I get it. Let me start over from the top of that. Nope, stop. Trevanion for a while. Emily was Lady Trevanion very often that summer. In one of the dream lives she had begun to build up for herself. Lady Trevanion was the wife of an English earl, and, besides being a famous novelist, was a member of the British House of Commons, where she always... Fixing something, as well as my tongue-tiedness. Yep, nah. Ow! Commons, where she always appeared in black velvet with a stately coronet of pearls on her dark hair. She was the only woman in the house, and, as this was before the days of the suffragettes, she had to endure many sneers and innuendos and insults from the ungallant males around her. Emily's favorite dream scene was where she rose to make her first speech, a wonderfully thrilling event. As Emily found it difficult to do justice to the scene in any ideas of her own, she always fell back on Pitt's reply to Walpole, which she had found in her royal reader, and declaimed it, with suitable variations. The insolent speaker who had... Ow! The insolent speaker who had provoked Lady Trevanion into speech had sneered at her... What? Hold on. The insolent speaker who had provoked Lady Trevanion into speech... breathe. Had sneered at her... Oh, okay, I got it. The insolent speaker who had provoked Lady Trevanion into speech had sneered at her as a woman, and Lady Trevanion, a magnificent creature in her velvet and pearls, rose to her feet, amid hushed and dramatic silence, and said, Sorry, there was a sound outside. I gotta cut that out. I hate that. The atrocious crime of being a woman, which the honourable member has, with such spirit and decency charged upon me, I shall attempt neither to palliate... Sorry, I had to stop for a second because my husband needed me. Where the heck was I? Hold on, let me listen back. All right, we're talking. Lady Trevanion is talking. With such spirit and decency charged upon me, I shall attempt neither to palliate nor deny, but shall content myself with wishing that I may be one of those whose follies... Breathe. All right. Or deny, but shall content myself with wishing that I may be one of those whose follies cease with their sex, and not one of that number who are ignorant in spite of manhood and experience. Here she was always interrupted by thunders of applause. But the savour was entirely lacking in this scene today, and by... freaking saliva. Fudge, where am I? There I am. Thunders of applause. But the savour was entirely lacking in this scene today, and by the time Emily had reached the line, "But womanhood, sir, is not my only crime," she gave up in disgust and fell to worrying over Ilsa's mother again, mixed up with some unease... Fudge! Ow! Mixed up with some uneasy speculations regarding the climax of her story, about the ghost of the well, mingled with her unpleasant physical sensations. Her eyes hurt her when she moved them. She was chilly, although the July day was hot. She was still lying there when Aunt Elizabeth came up to ask why she hadn't gone to bring the cows home from the pasture. I gotta do that again. Oh man, I almost made it. See, it's very glamorous, this audiobook narration stuff, but it's the best job I've ever had, and so it's all good. Fudge, where am I? All right. The July day was hot. She was still lying there when Aunt Elizabeth came up to ask why she hadn't gone to bring... Breathe, Andrea, there was a problem before. She was still lying there when Aunt Elizabeth came up to ask why she hadn't gone to bring... Mother Shankas! It was hot. She was still lying there when Aunt Elizabeth came up to ask why she hadn't gone to bring the cows home from the pasture. I didn't know it was so late," said Emily confusedly. My head aches, Aunt Elizabeth." Aunt Elizabeth rolled up the white cotton blind and looked at Emily. She noticed her flushed face. She felt her pulse. Then she bade her shortly to stay where she was, went down and sent Perry for Dr. Burnley. Who's speaking now? All right, Dr. Burnley. So I have to go back and find out, what does his voice sound like? It's been so long since I've done his voice. I have a spreadsheet. You want to see it? Can you see it? Spreadsheet of everybody's names, different lists of different descriptions of what their voice is like. Oh yeah, gruff. Wait, no. Oh yeah. Alright. Measles, okay. For Dr. Burnley. "Probably she's got the measles," said the doctor as gruffly as well. I should have just read that line. Emily was not sick enough to be gentle over. "There's an out... There's an outbreak of them at Dairy Pond. Has she had any chance to catch them?" Jimmy Joe... Who's speaking right now? Jimmy Joe's... Oh, okay, that's Aunt Elizabeth. Jimmy Joe Bell's 2 children were at... Jimmy Joe Bell's 2 children were here one afternoon about 10 days ago. She played with them. She's always playing round with people she's no business to associate with. I haven't heard that they were or have been sick, though. Jimmy Joe Bell, when at... Oh my God, here it comes. I can do way better than that. All right. Jimmy Joe Bell, when asked plainly, confessed that his young ones had come out with measles the very day after they had been at New Moon. There was, therefore, not much doubt as to Emily's malady. "It's a bad kind of measles, apparently," the doctor said. "Quite a number of the Dairy Pond children have died of it." Oh, Lord, here it comes. So unladylike. Though they don't call me Gassiopia for nothing. That's for you, Patty. My friend who coined that name for me, which I wear proudly. "Most French, though. The kids would be out of bed when they had no business to be, and caught cold. I don't think you need to worry about Emily. She might as well have measles and be done with it. Keep her warm and keep the room dark. I'll run over in the morning." I'll run over in the morning." For 3 or 4 days, nobody was much alarmed. Measles was a disease everybody had to have. Aunt Elizabeth looked after Emily well, and slept on a sofa, which had been moved into the Why can't I say lookout? Man. Where do I need to back up? There I go. Aunt Elizabeth looked after Emily well, and slept on a sofa which had been moved into the lookout. She even left the window open at night. In spite of this, perhaps Aunt Elizabeth thought because of it, Emily grew steadily sicker, and on the 5th day a sharp change... Ow! Fudge, where am I? Emily grew steadily sicker, and on the 5th day a sharp change for the worse took place. Her fever went up rapidly, delirium set in. Dr. Burnley came, Dr. Burnley came in, looked anxious, scowled, changed the All right, that is a weird... All right, let's try that again. Delirium set in. Dr. Burnley came, looked anxious, scowled, changed the medicine. I'm sent for to a bad case of pneumonia at Whitecross, he said, and I have to go to Charlottetown in the morning to be present at Mrs. Jackwell's operation. I promised her I would go. I'll be back in the evening. Emily is very restless. That high-strung system of hers is evidently very sensitive to fever. What's that nonsense she's... To fever. What's that nonsense she's talking about the Wind Woman? Oh, I don't know, said Aunt Elizabeth worriedly. Oh, I don't know, said Aunt Elizabeth worriedly. She's always talking nonsense like that, even when she's well. Alan, here we go. Even when she's well. Alan, tell me plainly, is there any danger? There's always danger in this type of measles. I don't like these symptoms. The eruption should be out by now, and there's no sign of it. Her fever is very high, but I don't think we'll... Don't add a word. Ow. High, but I don't think we need to be... Watch. Her fever is very high, but I don't think we need be alarmed yet. If I thought otherwise, I wouldn't go to town. Keep her as quiet as possible. Humor her whims if you can. I don't like that mental disturbance. She looks terribly distressed. Seems to be worrying over something. Has she had anything on her mind of late? Not that I know of, said Aunt Elizabeth. She had a sudden bitter realization that she really did not know much about the child's mind. Emily would never have come to her with any of her little troubles and worries. Emily, what is bothering you? Asked Dr. Burnley softly. Softly. Let's try that again. Emily, what is bothering you? Asked Dr. Burnley softly, very softly. He took the hot, tossing little hand gently, oh so gently, in his big one. Emily looked up with wild, fever-bright eyes. She couldn't have done it. She couldn't have done it. So I'm going to stop here because that's, I think, long enough. But this is a day in the life of audiobook narration. So thanks for watching. I hope you get Emily of New Moon. It's not finished yet. Would be shortly soon. And I'm just excited to keep doing my job in storytelling, and I hope you keep wanting to listen. Have a great day. Bye.